You know, normally I don't feel the need to defend power rankings, especially when I'm describing them. The video takes me 30 minutes to make. Um, and I watch an exorbitant amount of hockey to the point where I don't leave the house when hockey games are on. I get asked, by the family, you want to go to see a movie? Hockey's on. You want to do? No, hockey's on. Can we watch? Well, you guys can watch that. I'll have to go upstairs because hockey's on. I watch as much hockey as humanly possible every day. There are no exceptions. There's no day where I say, well, I don't need to watch hockey today. I'm going to go out. I take pride in what I do here. I take pride in the channel that's been built over the last 2.5 years. And it is vitally important to me that the growth that it's had continues, that the community that's been built, continues to grow, and I'm always proud of, the way things have gone to this point. So I'm not going to come out today and try to defend why teams are where they are in the power rankings, other than to say this. I update it after every game. I painstakingly do it. And there are a lot of websites that I think the way they do their power rankings is they look at the end of the week, they look at the score sheet, they look at the standings, they go, yep, this is where they all are. And people can basically agree with that. They go, yeah, that's about right. And when this channel started out, and that's basically what I was doing in the beginning. I wasn't watching every game. I couldn't. I had a full-time job. I couldn't. I would have days where it's like, oh, that game's on till 10:30. Well, I got to get up at 3 in the morning. I can't stay up till 10:30 to watch that game. So games in California, I had no idea what was going on with Anaheim, San Jose, and LA a lot of the time. It's it's hard too, because I see a game and I'll go, well, that loss was devastating. I'll use Colorado as an example. The losses to Pittsburgh and Tampa, you can look at and go, well, yeah, but that's Pittsburgh and Tampa. Okay, but I watched Tampa, and Tampa's not dominant in every game, and the way that they just dominated Colorado. And then the way that Colorado allowed those three in the third against Pittsburgh. So they've lost two of their last three. There's something with Colorado. I wonder, are they kind of punching above their weight right now? Is Colorado going to have a market correction along the lines of what Colorado's been going through? And I do treat shootouts like they're ties. And so I see people saying, well, this team won 3 games this week. And then I go and I look and I go, yeah, one of those was a shootout. I treated that like a tie. But again, for people who are just, your standard media, you don't watch all the games. And certainly if, people say, oh, you should have a job with Sportsnet. If I worked for Sportsnet, I would have to do videos kind of on their schedule. There'd be a schedule I had to follow for them, and I'd be doing work for them as well. I couldn't watch all the hockey. I'd have to completely change how I do this. And the power rankings, as you know them, would probably just be on Saturday right before I post the video. I'll just do an update then. And people would probably be happier with the power rankings if I did that, honestly. Because then I would be doing the same as other people are doing. My team won 2 games this week. Well, they're moving up. And I've never done it that way. It's never happened. When I started doing power rankings, that's when I started watching a lot of games. Because I took it seriously, and I still take it seriously. I'm sorry that people are as upset with it as they are week to week, but teams are more tightly bunched together than people give them credit for. The difference between the elite teams in the NHL and the mediocre teams in the NHL has never been fuzzier. It really hasn't. And yes, I believe Tampa's playing the best hockey in the league right now, and I think Chicago's probably playing the worst, but Chicago's also having a lot of bad puck luck, and I think there's a bit of a depth issue. You add a couple of guys to that lineup, maybe they're a playoff team. And for Tampa, they've been fortunate to get through this run without Vasilevsky as well as they have. When Vasi comes back, who knows what happens? That could completely upset things in the crease. Who knows? And, a couple weeks ago I'm told the Oilers are too high, now they're too low. The Ducks are too low, even though they lost 4-1 at home against Carolina, which bumped them down, and I mentioned that when I did the power rankings. But no. People just look and go, well, look where this team is in the standings. And the funny thing is, I mentioned the Ducks because they're 15-10-5, or 15-11-5 right now. Where is it? Well, grab it. Because this is the other thing that gets me too, and it's fine. I know why people feel this way, but it's worth pointing out. It's worth talking about a little bit. And it's only frustrating to me because there are people saying, oh, I'm just going to unsubscribe. I'm not going to support you anymore because of this issue. So I make 4 or 5 videos a day. I work every day to try to make sure the channel continues to grow and that, I'm as transparent as possible. More transparent with what I do with my power rankings than anybody else. So yeah, the Anaheim Ducks are 7-2-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. They won 5 in a row before that. They're 15-11-5, which means if you count overtime losses as losses, so if you're one of these people who goes, well, that team lost 2 games this week out of 3. Okay, so then they're 15 wins and 16 losses, which isn't great. And of their 15 wins, 13 of them are regulation or overtime, so 2 of them are shootout victories, which is why San Jose has a tiebreaker on them. Anaheim is sitting at 3rd in the NHL, or in the NHL. They're not 3rd in the NHL, they're 3rd in the Pacific. The Anaheim Ducks right now are number 11 overall in the NHL. They have played 2 more games than Boston and Columbus, who are 1 point behind them. Montreal's 2 points behind them, has 2 games in hand. They're 2 points ahead of Vegas. And again, Vegas had that climb back from where they were. They were in absolutely horrendous position a month ago. Minnesota is sitting with 32 points in 29 games, so they're 3 points behind Anaheim with 2 games in hand. And this is why when people talk about where a team sits in the standings, I throw my arms in the air and go, yeah, and how much of a difference is there between them and 15th or 16th, like Dallas? Dallas is 9th right now. Okay, they have 35 points in 29 games. Pretty good. Columbus has 34 and 29. Boston has 34 and 29. Montreal has 33 and 29. Minnesota 32 and 29, same as Edmonton. They're all tightly bunched together. So when I do this, I am well aware that there are going to be people who are upset. I know this. But I guess the problem I have is, and the reason I'm not coming out and oh, this schedule was this and this schedule was that, because I've done that before. But it never fixes this. It never makes it so that people say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And it's frustrating for me. Not because, and it's not an issue of, oh, he can't handle criticism. No, it's not that. It's not criticism to come out and go, you're obviously biased. That's not criticism. That's just slamming somebody publicly. And it's not even, looking at the schedule and going, well, okay, maybe I can understand it. Because again, Anaheim would have been 20th last night, other than the fact that they lost at home against Carolina 4-1. That's not a great game to have at home. And Anaheim, as much ground as they made up with that 5-game winning streak, it's not easy to maintain it. And remember last year I had people complaining that I didn't have Colorado and Calgary climbing the ranks fast enough with their winning streaks. And then people complained at the same time that when they started losing after that, then they weren't falling fast enough. And I've explained how I do it, and when you have teams that are that closely bunched together, you shouldn't have massive jumps. That's the thing, too. People are expecting massive jumps. Anaheim right now is at 22. Fine. They were at 29, 28 not that long ago. And teams around them have been playing well, too. Who's in for a major drop? Well, it looks like Buffalo could be in for another major drop with another week like they had this week. And that's the thing. If there was a bias to... The funny thing is I'm accused of both being biased in favor of teams and against teams. You're too hard on your own teams. Not really. Boston has not been playing well up until that game against Toronto last night. Dallas is winning a game here and there that they probably shouldn't, and that usually has a way of evening itself out. Vancouver's 30th for good reason. I haven't heard any Canuck fans saying you should have them much higher than 30th because they've lost 12 out of 14. And yet last week, when I had them in 29th, I had people complaining they weren't 31st. Why are they ahead of St. Louis and Chicago then? Because St. Louis and Chicago sucked. It's that bad. Where you look and you go, well, all 3 of them lost tonight, so I guess they're all staying in the same spot. And that happens sometimes where I look at the board and I go, well, that's staying as it is because of the way the results turned out tonight. But if I start doing all the second guessing, then I might as well just take it and pitch it. And keep in mind that the power rankings video, the data shows me that is my most popular video of the week. That is absolutely the most popular video of the week. And to be honest, usually when it's a controversial result, it's even more popular than when it isn't. Everybody goes, "Oh yeah, that's about right." But I mean, for instance, when I look at TSN's power rankings, Sportsnet's, or anybody else's, I see teams that I go, "Oh, that team's too high," or "Oh, that team's way too low." But I don't think there's a bias or that I should stop supporting them. That's what upset me today, and not angry upset like how dare they, but like, wait, what? I get up, I do these boards every day. I do all the previews, all the reviews. I talk about everything hockey related that I can from the National Hockey League, and then I screw you guys on the power rankings. Why would I do that? Like, I'm asking that seriously. Why would I spend all of this time with previews and review videos, and talking about trades? Do a video on Kevin Weeks. Do a video on different journeymen and Hall of Famers and all this stuff. And then on the power rankings, just say, man, I can't wait to stick it to people. That is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely doesn't make any sense. You know, or, oh, I can't wait to bounce this team up the power rankings. Look what's going on. No. I can't. I can't. That doesn't even make sense. All right. So that being said, I'm gonna start on today's videos. I don't consider this to be the start of today's videos. It's just the first thing I'm gonna upload. I don't know what to tell people right now who are convinced that I've got this bias where I've got it both out for teams I don't like and out for teams that I do. And yet, again, it feels like there's certain teams that have had a really good run over the last couple of months that people are ignoring, and teams that have had bad runs. And again, sometimes your record doesn't tell you how your team is playing. It doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. A record doesn't tell you absolutely everything. And that's the only thing I can say here is it doesn't tell you everything. I've thought about doing a power rankings where I just do the standings. Where I just go 31 to 1 and I'll just do the standings. Post it. And then people are complaining, this team's too low. Just say, all I did was give you guys the standings. But that doesn't tell you the whole story. Who wins and who loses a game, how they win, how they lose, all of this stuff, I agonize over every single night. And lately I've been sleeping maybe 5 hours a night. Because I go to bed, ping, I'm wide awake on social media. And this board stresses me out. Absolutely. Before last night, I looked at it and I went, man, I don't know. People aren't going to be happy with this. And I was right. Vegas has won, what, 8 out of 11? And they've moved up to 15th. That's it. Buffalo, those lost 5 in a row, and they've gone from where they were at the point when the losing started, which was number 1 on the board, down to 12th. But, yeah, I don't get it. And then Calgary, I was accused of holding them back when they were down at 12th. Now they're all the way up to 2nd on this winning streak. I didn't change anything about how I figured this out. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna go clean these boards up and talk about other things, and then hockey starts in about 40 minutes, and there's hockey all day. And all I do every day, all day, is hockey. I had one period. I think the longest I've gone without leaving the house is 6 days. And it's because, you know, I do all the videos in the morning, I get everything all ready, and then I watch the games during the night. And by the time the games have started, I'm like, well, I didn't leave the house today. Crap. Oh, I guess I'm not leaving the house today. So it's a lot of hours. And I guess once a week I try to screw everybody's team over, especially my own, which doesn't make any sense. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I can't convince people not to unsubscribe. That's not a thing. But I just wanted to just talk to you fine people this morning before I get things going here. And I have considered for a while just trashing the power rankings and coming up with something else. But it doesn't matter because anything I would replace with, people would argue with me about that too. It's just there is no way around it. Um, because let's say I had like a team of the week thing where I did a spotlight on a team, it would be, oh, you talked about that team a couple weeks ago. Why are you talking about it again? Clearly you have a bias. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. One example I would give, about 3 weeks ago, um, my wife, who cheers for Minnesota, sees Minnesota at 4 on the board, and she said, "I don't think they're playing that well." And I said, "Well, the board has them at fourth, so I don't know what to tell you. Right now, the board has them at 20th. So yeah, sometimes the board catches up after, but I didn't change anything that I was doing because of what she said. It's just the results went against Minnesota. All right, okay, now I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the continued support of the channel, and I don't know what to say other than it is entirely possible that the one video of the week that's the most popular, it may be to the point where the controversy it creates just isn't worth the hassle of watching every single game. I'm reevaluating that now, where I'm going, you know what, maybe I'll just take a night off from hockey once a week or twice a week, or just find some other way to report on it that I don't have to watch every game. So that's in my brain as well. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.